shoplouleigh.co.uk. I'm on Instagram as Instamaticlouleigh and Ravelry as Louleigh, and there is a Ravelry group. Come join us. Welcome to my kitchen and my podcast about knitting mainly, and some other fibre stuff. I really wanted to come and chat to you today because on Monday I'm going to New Zealand. I'm a New Zealander. I live in Yorkshire, and so I'm going home to visit my family, and it's the first time I've been in 3 years, so I'm very excited about it. And the decision to go wasn't last minute, but actually the booking of it and the timing was a bit last minute. So the hairy man is staying here by himself. I can see him in the hair. He's all sat around on the couch all day just eating pizza and things. He'll probably just throw away all the boxes when I get back. But anyway, so that's very exciting. But it does mean that I have a shop notice. Because I make bags. I'm on Etsy as Shoplouleigh. You can find me there, and you can, if you see a bag that you like, then you can put your knitting in it. So the shop will still be open. The hairy man said he was quite happy to post everything provided I did all the special wrapping first. So I have set it up so he just has to put an address label on things and send it out. So anyway, the shop will definitely be open. I am going for a month, so that means that I do have to do some work while I'm there. So I'm going to set up my factory while I'm out there and do some bag making. So there will be an update on about the 29th of February when I get back, so watch out for that. If you follow me on Instagram, then you'll have a good idea of what I've made, and if there's anything you like, then yeah, you can check out the shop. And there'll be, I'll put a note on there as to when they're going up as well. Yeah, I usually give you a little bit of warning as to what's coming, but things don't hurry out of my shop anyway. There's no need to rush, and there'll be more coming later, so you'll always see something you like later, I'm sure. Today I am wearing I don't think this jumper is actually on Ravelry. This is one that I made quite a while ago, and it was an experiment in doing a set-in sleeve from the top down. I wouldn't say it was a successful. It had its successes. I really like this jumper. I made it out of a new Lanark wool. I think it's the one that has silk in it, and I'll put a link to that yarn in the show notes. Yes, I love the colour of it a lot, and I find the yarn really hard wearing. It's not the softest yarn, but it's very practical. It doesn't pill or anything like that, and I wear this all the time. Dog walking, allotment tearing. I think the thing was that there are a lot of features that I like about the design. I like that it has 3/4 length sleeves and a nice deep armpit, and I also put a sort of like a curved shirt tail on the bottom, which I think is quite flattering on me. But there were some things about the fit that I wasn't completely happy about. So for example, the shoulders are too wide. And so I have enough yarn to actually make another one, and I would like one that actually resolved all those issues, but that would be knitting the same thing again. And then what would I do with this one? I suppose I could just send it to the charity shop if I had a really nice one. Anyway, so that's in the pipeline. I may or may not knit myself another jumper that looks remarkably like this one, just to improve on it. It's pretty dismal here today, and I've just noticed that my camera keeps refocusing because I don't think it's getting enough light on its light sensors. I have a new memory card today to resolve my other issues that I was having, and I have this terrible fear that I'm going to record the whole thing and discover it was faulty or some such. But I have done some testing, so there's no reason I should be afraid of that. But anyway, so there's no sock segment today because I'm still working on all the same socks I was working on last time. So what am I getting up to? Oh, recently it has gotten cold. Like, it's like winter's finally arrived. And we haven't had any snow though. We've had some sleet and some ice and it's been frosted over. But anyway, the upshot is that in bed at night my feet are getting cold. And my favourite dog used to snuggle up next to them at night and keep my feet nice and warm. But he has retired from that job because his legs are getting a bit dodgy and he can't jump up on the bed. Or worse still, he can't jump down when he needs to go out. So you can imagine how that ended. So he now has a nice snuggly basket beside the bed, and I have bought this out of retirement, my lovely old hot water bottle, in order to keep my toes nice and toasty. But as you can see, she has seen better days. She's still perfectly functional, but not quite as pretty as she used to be. So I decided to knit myself a lovely hot water bottle cover, and let me just reach over here. I have it in my lovely yarn bowl made of wool, and I'm making it out of the hand spun that I showed you a while ago actually. I can't remember which episode it was, but this is a Louleigh's Exmoor cross that I spun as a 3-ply, and I think I had a bit under 200 grams, maybe it was 150 or something. So I wound myself a massive ball. It's actually getting quite hollow inside. I love it when you wind a good ball. I did it on my Nostipin. I love it when you wind a good ball and the structure of it just stays while the inside hollows out. Yeah, so that's what I'm knitting it with. I'm using and this is it so far. It's the Haworth pattern. Actually, let me see if I can put this on my hot water bottle so you can kind of, oh, I'm mid-row. So you get a better view of it. There we go. It's the Haworth pattern and it has this lovely cable on it. I had felt like I needed some, like my knitting, I wanted some more challenges in my knitting, because I do a lot of things that are just stocking stitch or only have a little pattern, and so this has been really fun. I've really enjoyed those bobbly bits, and the cables. I like a good cable. I don't use a cable needle. I find that to be a real faff, and so I've used some videos on YouTube on how to cable without a cable needle, and I haven't used a cable needle for years and years. I just find it a nuisance. It's just an extra tool to keep fidgeting about with, and actually cabling without one is quite simple. I think so. So yeah. I was watching an episode of Tiny Paper Foxes with Jenny and Devon. I don't think it's the most recent one, and they were talking about patterns that were suitable for hand-spun yarns. And my take on that is that it's more a matter of when you pick any pattern and decide what yarn to use, you know, there's sort of a decision-making process, and it's sort of like, will the yarn look good in that pattern? Will it show off the stitch pattern? And all those sorts of things. And I think it's exactly the same with hand spun. You can knit anything with hand spun. It just depends on sort of like the ply structure and how fluffy it is and how soft it is. So I think it's a similar decision making process as the suitability of yarn, whether it's commercial or hand spun. But the nice thing about hand spun is that you can tailor your yarn for a specific project once you get a bit clever about spinning, maybe a bit cleverer than I am. Well, no, that's not true, because I have done projects before where I've sampled and just tested things out and just made sure that I've got the yarn that I want. Quite often I just shove things on my wheel as well and just have fun with it, but you know, you can make decisions about the structure of your yarn and what it's made from. So I think you could pretty much do any. I don't see why you couldn't do any pattern with your hand spun. But anyway, that's my take on that one. And that's my hot water bottle cozy, which I'm really looking forward to having finished. Just to make my hot water bottle a bit more pretty. So I shall put that down here. And reach over here. So the next thing that I am working on, I'm knitting they're on higher sharps. Not interchangeables, just joined on ones. What do you call those? Fixed circulars. That's what I wanted. Right. So in here, this is a bag. This is nothing special. It just came with my handbag. And I am looking. I'm using chow goose. Forget what size, but it'll be all in the project page that I'll link to. I've got all those stitch markers attached there. Right, so this is the Colour Cashmere Cowl by Hohi Locatelli, and this yarn was one of the little treats that I got when I was at Shetland Wool Week. I stumbled across a lovely chum, Happy Lucky Alex, and she had on the most wonderful cowl, and I wanted one just like hers, right down to the colours. Hers was navy blue and orange, and then she had a grey for the neutral, and I thought I like that a lot. So I have copied her. Not quite exactly, I've picked colours that suit me better. So yes, and that has been lots of fun. Fairly simple knitting, and the nice thing about this cowl is that just as you get sick of one bit and start to get a bit bored, the next bit comes along. So that's been quite good. I am using Jamison's Shetland Spindrift for this. And I think if you've been watching this podcast for a little while, you would have seen last year that I knitted a hap shawl using some Jamison and Smith's yarn. And somebody had asked me what the difference was between Jamison and Smith and Jamison's. This is the way I understand it. And if I'm wrong and you know better, then please come over to the Ravelry group and correct me. Jamison and Smith is the wool broker in Shetland, and so they do what any broker does, and they buy and sell stuff. So they buy wool from farmers and then they sell it on in bulk. And they also do something that I've not come across before in a wool broker. It's not that I know a lot about wool brokers, but this is the first one I've heard of that actually commissions products. So they have some of the yarn that they get spun up, some of the fibre that they get spun up into a selection of yarns, and they also commission other products. So Jamison and Smith is a wool broker who commissions yarn to be made for them, and then they sell it. Jameson's of Shetland is a manufacturer, and so they buy in all their fibre, probably from the local wool broker, and manufacture various products such as yarn, and they also make jumpers and things like that as well. And we went to their factory whilst we were in Shetland, and that was really interesting and a lot of fun. So anyway, that is the potted version of how I understand the difference between those two companies and what they are, because I know before I went I was kind of confused between Jamisons and Smiths, because they're both Jamison. Anyway, so I don't know if that just makes things more confusing or if that actually helps or if anybody was even interested, but that's how, there we go. It is what it is. Okay, so that's my cowl. Popping that back in there. And I've not had my first coffee yet. Maybe that's why I'm not feeling like I'm functioning correctly. But anyway. So, what's next? I have been spinning. I've had a bit of a hiatus from spinning for quite a while. And so I just thought that I would put something on my spinning wheel that was just really fun. And I had bought this lovely fibre. I forget who I bought it from, and I don't know where the label is. Sorry, bad podcaster. But it's yak, so it's quite fine and fly away, and it's dyed this beautiful colour. The dye is coming off a bit on my fingers, and I have actually found undissolved dye in the fibre as well, so not incredibly impressed about that, but I should imagine it's fibre that you've got to be quite careful with when you're dyeing, so I can see why you would be a little afraid of, you know, handling it and rinsing it heavily. So I have that. I'm going to make a 2-ply with it, and that's just some of my singles there. As I say, this is just a bit of fun. I don't know what I'm going to... I think it was about 25 grams of that. It's incredibly light stuff. I'm just doing this for fun, so I don't know what I'm going to do with it when I've finished. I'm just looking to see if I can find something white to put behind my... Here we go. Standby. So there is my little sample of the 2-ply. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, I might, I have a little pin loom, and I've been thinking about weaving this actually, just because there's only a little bit of it and that would make the most of the yardage. I'm not sure how many squares I'd get out, but that could be quite fun. But anyway, we shall see what happens there. That was our toilet flushing. I think the hairy man's just got up. How nice for you. So anyway, that's what I'm spinning at the moment. Well, apparently intermission is going to become a regular feature on this podcast. The hairy man and I have just stopped and taken a break to make hot beverages. Given how wet it is, I think we need them. So, I wanted to talk to you, last of all, about my holiday knitting, because all of that stuff that you've just seen, I'm not taking with me at all. I have been wanting to make some new jerseys for my jumpers, sweaters for my nieces, who one is coming up will be 2 this year, and the other one will be 4, I think. And so it made sense to me to start those on my holiday, and to leave at least one of them there, if not both, hopefully both, but you never get in as much knitting as you think you're going to. Oh, I'm going on holiday for ages, I'm going to knit all the things, and it just doesn't happen. So I have decided to make the snowflake pattern inspired by Tilly Trout. She made a lovely version of this, one for each of my nieces. It's Snowflake, I don't know if you'll be able to see that picture very well, by Tin Can Knits, and it's just got that lovely lace yoke and then plain sleeves and body. And I have quite a few sort of oddments of colours of Louleigh's DK, and the skeins are so large that quite often you have lots of leftovers, especially with the Hero Sweater where I only needed a little bit of each colour really. So the first one I'm going to make, I've forgotten to note down what the colours were. The first one I'm going to make out of these two. This will be the smaller one because I've got less of these two colours. I think that one's Field Mouse or something. I'm guessing this one's Stella Polaris, but I could be wrong. I have no idea what these other two are. No, I really do have no idea. So that'll be for the second one. And I did have a sort of a more muted, darker green, more of a Shrek green, that I did think looked more elegant with this, but I think this green will be quite fun for a wee girl, and this was the colour combination that her mother liked best. I think she liked it because she would be able to identify her child easily at a distance. So anyway, I am going to pick one of those to start on the aeroplane, and got that all tucked in there ready to go. And these are the needles I'm going to use. These are my Chalgoos, and I don't know, there's always a lot of talk about knitting needles and aeroplanes, and I've been on my fair share of aeroplanes and never had my needles confiscated, regardless of what they were made of or anything like that. I quite often have to pull my knitting out and show it to the security people, but they've never taken my knitting needles away. And yet still I worry about taking them on the plane. So I looked up on the internet for all of the airports I'll be passing through, and they all said that knitting needles were fine. And still I'm worried. So I am going to take these bamboo ones as well, but definitely the metal ones are my preference, and if I can knit all the way out there with those, then I will. I have no reason to believe that security will take my knitting needles away, and yet I worry. It's herd mentality. I'm just like a wildebeest. Someone has raised the alarm and I'm just going along before the lions come. I might be wrong. I might get their knitting on these things, but I don't know. We'll find out. I think the main thing I find, as I say, is that quite often they do want you to pull your knitting out of your bag and to have a look at it. And to a muggle, that doesn't look like a knitting needle. So it's important that you have your knitting started and attached to your needles so that they can see what you're actually doing. It's not just some unidentified object. So anyway, that's my philosophy. If you want to see how this comes out, and if I do have my Chalgoos confiscated, then follow me on Instagram. Or in the Ravelry group, I'd love to hear about your experiences with knitting on aeroplanes and whether or not you have actually had your needles taken off you. Like I say, I never have, so maybe I'm getting a bit blasé about it, I don't know. Like I say, I've never had them confiscated, but I always worry about it, so maybe, am I worrying for no reason? Anyway, so that's the knitting that I'm taking with me to New Zealand, and that should be very exciting. Now, someone did ask me if I would be podcasting from my holiday, and I'm not taking my podcasting equipment. So I don't know if I'll actually do a podcast on my phone or something, or I'll definitely try and take some pictures so I can do a little montage and things for you when I get back. But otherwise, it's been really nice to chat to you today, and I hope you all are having a lovely weekend. Please come over and chat in the Ravelry group. I'd love to see what you're knitting and where you're knitting it. And I shall see you next time. Cheerio!